Jill Duggar is very happy because she got the man she loves. Long years of secret love finally revealed in front of everyone. Jill Duggar is on a new journey by divorcing her previous husband and severing ties with her previous family. How logical is the reason to divorce the previous husband? Let's present the complete story to you today through video. But before that, there is another thing. Joanna Duggar reveals the biggest misconception about her family. Joanna Duggar, former Counting On star, recently opened up about some surprising misconceptions regarding her family. Alongside her husband, Austin Forsyth, she appeared on the Unplanned Podcast, where they shared personal stories, including details about Joanna's battle with postpartum depression and her feelings during a time when her family was falling apart. Austin also touched on the challenges they've faced as part of the famous Duggar family, noting the occasional encounters with the crazies due to their public life. During their conversation with the podcast hosts, the couple addressed a major misconception people have about being members of the Duggar family, particularly related to Joanna's father, Jim Bob Duggar. #### Joanna clears up rumors about Jim Bob Duggar's control. One of the most significant misconceptions, according to Joanna, is the belief that her father, Jim Bob Duggar, controls her social media and YouTube channel. She made it clear that she and Austin operate independently as their own family unit, deciding for themselves what to share or not share with the public. Podcast host Matt admitted he had also been influenced by media headlines, which led him to question whether Joanna and Austin maintained a relationship with her parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar. This insight into Joanna's autonomy is especially interesting in light of her sister Jill Duggar's revelations in her book Counting the Cost. Jill had previously shared stories about their father's desire to maintain control even after she married Derek Dillard. ### Tensions between Joanna and Jill Duggar. While Joanna has worked hard to stay in her parents' good graces, particularly to spend time with her sisters still living at the family's big house, her relationship with Jill seems strained. Despite their once close bond, Jill being the leader of Joanna's buddy team growing up, their dynamic appears to have changed over the years. When asked about her sister's books, Joanna only acknowledged Jinger Duggar's publication, pointedly avoiding mention of Jill's book. She hinted that the rift in the family, which nearly tore them apart in 2023, may have been caused by Jill's actions. Although things between the sisters remain tense, they manage to coexist during family gatherings, presenting a united front. Joanna Duggar reveals a sibling ratted her out for breaking a courtship rule. Joanna Duggar, married to Austin Forsyth since 2017, recently shared a candid story about her courtship days that gives insight into the strict rules the Duggar family followed. Although Joanna has taken a step back from YouTube, she hasn't hesitated to share details about her upbringing. During a recent interview on the Unplanned Podcast, Joanna revealed that one of her brothers ratted her out for breaking a courtship rule, confirming long-held suspicions that the Duggar siblings were quick to tell on each other. ### Joanna got in trouble for touching Austin before they were engaged. On the podcast, Joanna opened up about an incident that occurred during her courtship with Austin Forsyth. She recounted how Austin was involved in a car accident while they were dating, and she rushed to the scene with her father, Jim Bob Duggar, to support him. Overcome with worry, she grabbed Austin's arm, an act that violated the family's strict courtship rules. The Duggars have always enforced a no-touching rule during the courtship phase. Joanna recalled that her father initially told her to let go of Austin's arm but didn't immediately punish her. However, things escalated when one of her brothers, who was present at the scene, pointed out their physical closeness to Jim Bob. Joy admitted she was annoyed that her brother tattled on her, especially given the emotional situation. She didn't reveal which of her 10 brothers was responsible for ratting her out. ### Duggar siblings have a history of covering for each other in public. While Duggar siblings have been known to tell on one another in private, they tend to avoid exposing each other publicly. Joanna's decision not to name her brother follows a similar pattern seen with her sister, Jill Duggar Dillard. In her memoir Counting the Cost, Jill mentioned certain siblings being either supportive or against her during her family's internal struggles, but she never revealed specific names. Still, Duggar family followers have their theories about who has sided with whom. Duggar family's strict courtship rules. The Duggar family is no longer featured on TV, and many of their courtship rules have relaxed over time. For instance, Jason Duggar and his wife, Maddie Jones, as well as Jeremiah Duggar and his wife, Hannah Wisman, didn't strictly adhere to the no-touching rule before marriage. However, during Joanna and Austin's courtship, the rules were still strictly enforced. Joanna explained that she and Austin weren't allowed to hold hands until after they were engaged. Other physical contact, like kissing or front-facing hugs, was off-limits until after marriage. In addition, courting couples were not allowed to spend time alone together or have private conversations without a chaperone. Once their wedding date was set, side hugs and hand-holding became permissible, but all other forms of physical affection remained banned until they said, "I do." Austin Forsyth reveals Jim Bob Duggar had a courtship checklist, not any of his business. Austin Forsyth, husband of Joanna Duggar, recently shared an inside look at the Duggar family's strict courtship process, including a detailed checklist given to him by his father-in-law, Jim Bob Duggar. During an appearance on the Unplanned Podcast with Matt and Abby Howard on October 16, Austin opened up about his experience and how Jim Bob's questionnaire played a role in their courtship. "That was pretty early on in our conversations when he gave me that list and wanted me to fill it out," said Austin, 30. "A lot of the questions were good, asking about religious beliefs, finances, and family planning, but there were a few things that I felt were not any of his business." Jim Bob's courtship checklist, what was on it? Austin revealed that the courtship checklist Jim Bob handed him was a thorough interrogation of his past and personal life, asking questions like, "Have you ever been arrested?" While Austin found some of the questions helpful for evaluating a potential partner, he admitted that some topics seemed too intrusive. The Duggar family has long been known for their strict courtship rules, which are meant to preserve traditional values and avoid the pitfalls of modern dating. According to the family's website, courtship involves a commitment to honor and protect both individuals as they get to know each other, with heavy involvement from family and mentors. Jim Bob's questionnaire was part of this protective approach. Joanna reflects on her parents' courtship rules. Joanna, 26, added her perspective on the courtship process, noting that while she appreciates the intention behind her parents' rules, she might handle things differently. "My parents have said they want to be a stepping stone for us, and we're free to tweak how we approach things in our own lives," she explained. "I appreciate the idea behind it, but I think I would adjust it a bit." She also pointed out that their family's public image meant that many potential suitors were well aware of their standards.